Hi, I'm Jake. I make RPG supplements and videos about Pathfinder 2, or PF2. I love PF2, and always will. I'm faithful. Continuing with more of Immortals coverage, Vindicator, the class archetype. This was in PF1, whatever, known as Inquisitors, and there's a nod to it here. I don't know PF1. So I don't really know if this is at all similar. Let me know in the comments, because some of you loved it. Anyway, Vindicator, class archetype. So this is for Rangers. Many undead and supernatural predators have the ability to blend unseen among the general population, preying on mortals completely unaware of their presence. Vindicators are skilled warriors who use keen analytical talents and a smattering of divine magic to seek out such monstrous prey and pronounce judgment upon them. Evil religions, whose vindicators are more likely to be referred to as Inquisitors, occasionally train their agents to seek out heretics within their own ranks, a fact that contributes heavily to the attitudes of fear and mistrust many Vindicators find themselves faced with in the course of their duties. Duty. Sorry. All right. Wow. So, beginning at first, there are a lot of additional feats for this one, starting at first level, but I'm going to read the Vindicator class, the features of how it works with the Ranger class, and then read the first level feat, Domain Initiate, and then go on to the Vindicator feats with the Vindicator dedication at level 2. All right, so Vindicator. How class archetypes work is that it modifies the class that you are already taking. So some of it works the same, some of it doesn't. The changes here are, what's mentioned here are only changes. So everything that isn't mentioned works the same way. Vindicator, first level, you have been specially trained to use guile and magic to reveal hidden threats. You must select Vindicator dedication as your second level class feat. Prerequisites, you must be a ranger. Vindicator adjustments, you must choose a deity to be a follower of, and you gain your deity's sanctification. You are trained in religion instead of nature. I would personally I have some players, who isn't really all that big on deities in general, but this class would be perfect for that player. So I would probably just say, all right, well, you don't have to choose a deity, but you do have to choose like a higher purpose. What's your higher purpose? And then you would get a sanctification based on that. Holy or unholy, it's easy to pick. You are trained in religion instead of nature. You are trained in your deity's favored weapon. If your deity's favored weapon is a simple weapon or unarmed attack with a damage die smaller than d6, you gain the Deadly Simplicity feat, Player Core 113, and all that Deadly Simplicity does is it increases the die type of damage. If your deity's favored weapon is an advanced weapon, your proficiency with it is equal to your proficiency with martial weapons. Cool. Interesting little loophole you can choose like chakram through, because Starfinder has a deity that favorite weapon is chakram. You must choose the Vindication Edge, see below, for your Hunter's Edge. You learn Warden spells as divine spells instead of primal spells, and your spellcasting attribute is Wisdom. When you gain domain spells via the Domain Initiate or Advanced Domain feats, they are Warden spells for the purposes of all your Vindicator feats and abilities. It just really means that you work well as a Ranger. That's all. That your Ranger stuff works appropriately for the new feats and spells and shit you take. Vindication Edge. Your specialized training gives you a unique edge that allows you to more effectively bring the tools of your faith to bear against the monsters that lurk in the night or hide among the faithful. You gain a +1 status bonus to your spell attack rolls against your hunted prey, and they take a -1 status penalty to their saving throws against divine spells you cast. You gain the Vindicator's Mark Warden spell. Let's switch to that to see what that says. Vindicator's Mark. Focus spell level 1, 2 actions, uncommon, manipulate, sanctified, range 60 feet, target your hunted prey. Defense AC duration 1 minute, you launch a magical dart at your hunted prey, which marks them with a nimbus only you can detect. Oh, I love this. Make a spell attack against the target. On a hit, you deal 2d4 spirit damage, and the target is marked by a glowing nimbus of energy that only you can see. For the duration of your spell, the marked target takes an additional +2 damage from all your weapon or unarmed attacks. Invisible targets marked by your Vindicator's mark are concealed to you rather than undetected. That's fucking great. First level, you get that shit. You can dismiss the spell on your turn if your last action dealt damage to the target with a weapon or unarmed attack, instantly dealing an additional 2d6 spirit damage to it, and dismissing takes an action. Heightened +2, the initial damage increases by 2d4, the additional damage you deal increases by 1, and the damage dealt with the spell is dismissed. When the spell is dismissed, increases by 1d6. I love things that increase their effectiveness or damage appropriately as you level. That is a really good focus spell. In general, I love that it highlights your target. There's a change to the 5th level feature for Rangers. Trackless Journey. Vindicators can choose to gain the benefits of this class feature in either urban or natural terrain, chosen at the time the class feat is gained. That's great. I love having an in-city ranger. I've been looking forward to an urban ranger. That's still just a hunter. Masterful Hunter at 17th. The Masterful Hunter class feature gives an additional benefit based on your hunter's edge. Included here is the additional benefit for the Vindication edge. Vindication, you combine skill and magic to swiftly defeat your prey. The status bonus to divine spell attack rolls against your hunted prey increases to +2, and the status penalty to their saving throws against divine spells you cast is -2. So it just makes you work well as a ranger, like we said. All right. Before I get to the first feat, Domain Initiate, which you probably know what it does, but I'll read it anyway. I want to read a little insert because it gives flavor for the class. Class archetype. Better off dead. Pharasman priests understand that their goddess considers undead abominations, but most only read or hear stories of them. Not many experience the foul stench of a rotting zombie or sharp claw of a ghoul firsthand. That's fine. That's what I'm here for. I hunt and slay the monsters who violate the laws of life and death, so that others who follow the lady can sleep soundly in their beds without worrying about what lurks in the dark. For as long as restless spirits get trapped between this world and the next, and selfish wizards try to unnaturally extend the measure of their lives, I take that personally, there will always be a need for people like me. Imrijka. Oh, that's this person. Imrijka, Vindicator of Pharasma. Yeah, I'm a badass. It just looks like Van Helsing. She just looks like Van Helsing. Additional feats, first level, Domain Initiate. It's a long read. Basically, you get a focus spell based on your deity or an aspect that your GM is cool with you taking. Some of them are extremely damaging spells. Some of them are healing abilities. Some of them are just protective. Some of them just make colorful illusions. I love Domain Initiate. I love the domain focus spells. Because this gives it to you at first level, I would probably choose this over archetyping into cleric. Because you are a badass hunter and warrior, and you get Domain Initiate without having to take an archetype. You can spend your archetype on something else, besides taking this as a class archetype. Yeah, I know. But, so this basically is like taking cleric as your archetype. But that's fine, because some of the focus spells are just a shit ton of fire damage, or the enemy is stupefied for a minute. There are too many options to mention here. Domain Initiate is great. Go look at the domain focus spells. I especially like Aberration and Tyranny, because they're powerful. I really like the Cold Domain spell. It's really damaging. And it's dramatic. You launch a spear of ice through your enemy, and it lodges in them, and then explodes next turn out everyone around them. It's fun shit. Alright, anyway. I was really excited about Domain Initiate. Where am I? Okay, Vindicator feats. Second level Vindicator dedication. It has the archetype, class, and dedication traits. Prerequisites, Vindicator. Obviously, I'm not going to read those again. Your church ensures that you are cared for. You can use religion to coerce, gather information, make an impression, or make a request, as long as you are in a town or city with a church dedicated to your deity. If the target of a check is also a worshiper of your deity or is your hunted prey, you gain a +2 circumstance bonus to the check. That's all it does. For the dedication. What the fuck? This is crap. Okay, so obviously You have to be in a town or city to begin with. I'm not going to say most adventures aren't in towns and cities, because people can make up whatever the fuck they want. But not every adventure is in a town or city. And it has to have a church dedicated to your deity. That means you need to choose a major deity, or just have a GM who's really cool. And then it just lets you use religion instead of intimidation or diplomacy, or society, depending on your feats, whatever. And if they're also a worshiper of your deity, or is your hunted prey, which you can just choose, you get a +2 circumstance bonus. So it's like a lot of hoops to jump through to have to only take religion instead of diplomacy. I don't see the point of this. This is just a shit dedication. I know I said that about other dedications, but some dedications are amazing. And some are just okay. This one is crap. Unless you know that this character you're making is going to be in a city during the time that you want to use those roles, coerce, gather information, and make an impression, or make a request, and there is a church to your deity in that town, I would probably never take this archetype. It just kills it for me right there, because it's a wasted feat. You're required to take the dedication in order to play a Vindicator. All the other later feats are optional. This one is not. You have to take this. Okay, so if I were the GM, or a player willing to beg my GM for special consideration, I would make this something that is like, you can use religion anyway. It doesn't matter if you're in a town. It doesn't matter if the town has a church to your deity. Because I have met people, this really happens, who use religion to intimidate the shit out of you, or to make an impression that they're a good person, to coerce you, to get you to do something out of guilt or shame or fear, or just you want to be with the in crowd. It is possible to roll religion instead of intimidate or diplomacy or whatever for these things without being in a town dedicated that has a church dedicated to your deity. It seems like it could just be a strong flavor of this archetype that they are Bible thumpers. Forgive the expression. It's any religion. Doesn't matter. But they're fire and brimstone preachers. I could see that. Or like just holding the threat of their church over the head of this person that consorts with monsters. That would also be intimidating. Like you say, the Holy Church of Pharasma will not look kindly upon you lying to us. That's intimidating. I think you could just use religion for these purposes, regardless of where the fuck you are. Anyway, it's not a big change to make. It should be easy and go over easily with your GM. There are examples of this happening in real life. It should be fine. Anyway, now we jump back to the additional feats for Instructive Strike and Ongoing Investigation. So, Instructive Strike. Instructive Strike is a thumb feat. I love thaumaturges. An Instructive Strike is a really good one. So, it's a level 4 feat for thumbs. It's also a level 4 feat for the Vindicator. So far, this dips into classes that I personally just find useful for any purpose. Anyway, you attack your foe and analyze how it reacts. Make a strike. On a hit, you can immediately... Sorry, it's one action. You attack your foe and analyze how it reacts. Make a strike. On a hit, you can immediately attempt a check to recall knowledge about the target. On a critical hit, you gain a +2 circumstance bonus to the check to recall knowledge. This is great. It's always going to be useful. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't take this as a Vindicator, or as a Thaumaturge, or as anybody who can take it. Yeah. It's just great. It saves you an action and lets you know shit that could save your life, or, you know, just kill the enemy faster. Also saving lives of your party members. It's an amazing feat. Also, at 4th level, you get access to Ongoing Investigation. It's level 4 feat for Investigators. Obviously, it's also a level 4 feat for Vindicators. Ongoing Investigation. You're always investigating what's around you, even as you perform other activities. You can move at full speed while using the Investigate Exploration activity, and you can use another Exploration activity while investigating. It's not as useful if you're not Investigator, just because investigators have cheesy ways of doing better investigation, but it's still useful for anybody who is trying to find out what's happening in an area. And the Vindicator is an interesting combination of Thaumaturge, Cleric, and Investigator in the trappings of a Ranger. It is Van Helsing or Van Richten. It is the Monster Hunter. It's the Monster Hunter class archetype. Next Vindicator class archetype feat. Level 6, Interrogate. It takes 1 action. It has the traits Auditory, Concentrate, Linguistic, and Mental. You ask questions you know will be answered. Ask a question of a non-allied creature that you can see and have been conversing with. Attempt an intimidation check against the creature's will DC. If the creature is a member of the same religion as you, or is an undead or were creature pretending to be a member of your faith. I think you should just be pretending to not be undead or were creature. You get a +2 circumstance bonus on this check. The creature is then temporarily immune for an hour. Critical success. The target must directly answer your question. It doesn't have to answer truthfully, but you gain a +4 circumstance bonus to your perception DC if the creature attempts to lie to you. So this is very, very similar, almost identical, to the Investigator ability of Interrogate. Success. As critical success, but the circumstance bonus is +2. Failure. The target can refuse to answer you and becomes unfriendly if they weren't already unfriendly or hostile. Critical failure. The target refuses to answer you and becomes hostile if they weren't already. You can't use Interrogate on the target again for 24 hours. I really, really like this class. This feels like a brand new, highly specialized class. I don't like that it has so many ties to a church. I'm fine with it being divine. But it seems like each time you go out on a mission for your church, and you get more bonuses if that's the case, and if everything that you're doing relates to your church, and that's all in the hands of the GM. So I think I would just remove all of that restriction from this class archetype, because it'd be more fun and useful. And fun. And fun matters a lot. My 2 driving forces, curiosity and fun. Next level 6 additional feat, Thorough Research. So we go back to player core 2. Thorough Research, Investigator, level 6. You have comprehensive knowledge in your fields of interest. When you succeed at a recall knowledge check, you gain additional information or context. When you critically succeed at a check to recall knowledge, you get additional information or context. Or can ask an additional follow-up question. The GM chooses which. The green is highlighted because that's a new change after the remaster. That was changed. That was added. This is the fucking Monster Hunter class. This is so great. This replaces the need for a Thaumaturge because of how much you're able to know about shit that you're fighting. If you don't have a Thaumaturge in your group, think about doing this Ranger instead. Yes, it's good. Okay. Now, level 8. Additional feats. Advanced Domain. Okay, so the Advanced Domain is basically just like the Domain Initiate. You get a focus spell from a Divine Domain. However, this is really an awesome ability to be able to get as your base class and not be a Cleric, because otherwise you'd have to be 16th level to get it through an Archetype. And that just sucks. At 16th level, you're probably not going to bother with an Advanced Domain. But at 8th level, super useful. Okay, so the Advanced Domain just builds on the domain that you already took. So if you want to branch out into different domains, you have to first take Domain Initiate of that domain, and then Advanced Domain to get the 2nd level ability. And not all the highest level, the Advanced Domain spells are worth it. Sometimes the most powerful one is the first one, or sometimes the best one is the second one, and that kind of sucks, because you basically just have to eat a feat to get the really cool ability. But I'm also not going to go through all the domains for that, because there's just so many, and it's really flexible, there's lots of options. So there are just too damn many, but there are defensive spells, spells that break control or negative conditions that are on your allies, or just that make enemies take damage when they hit you. There's so many different things you could take for advanced domain. I just can't go into it right now. But it just makes this class better and so much more fun and so much more ass-kicking. I like that the advanced domain has a lot of things that are reactive or passive once they start. So it's not you have to take 2 actions to fire a ray of fire. It's that you have a fire shield up for a while, and enemies take damage when they hit you. All right. So now, next Vindicator class archetype feat, Disrupt Opposed Magic, level 8 feat. It's a reaction. Trigger, a creature you can observe within your reach or within your weapon's first range increment if you are wielding a ranged weapon casts a spell. Requirements, you are wielding your deity's favored weapon. Guys, what are you doing? Your training included instruction on how to prevent enemy spellcasters from using their prayers against you. Make a strike with the required weapon against the opponent. If the strike is successful, the triggering spell is disrupted. It does not say that it has to be a divine spell. There is another class archetype that does say that it has to be a divine spell, but that would fit the flavor here, but it isn't necessary. It's any spell, and it can be within the first range increment if you're wielding a ranged weapon, which is awesome. You get to reactive strike them, and it's the spell is disrupted if you just hit, not critically hit. The only sucky thing is you're wielding your deity's favorite weapon. So you really have to plan for this from the outset and choose a deity's favored weapon that is going to be ranged, because most of them aren't. But if you do choose one that has like a bow, that's awesome. It could be up to like 100 feet away, and you're just shooting that mage who's casting fireball in the face and disrupting the spell. This is awesome and amazing and kick-ass. You do have to plan for it, but it's still good. And it's a reactive strike on a ranger. Yes, I know, it's only for casters. But that's really the biggest problem. The biggest thing you would need a reactive strike for. It's more convenient if it's like for move actions too, or for people doing manipulate actions in general. But the biggest benefit for a reactive strike and interrupting it is for casters, because then you just fucking nullify their turn. Because spells take 2 actions and you get 3. Because this is Pathfinder. This is Pathfinder! Okay, so I'm done with the additional feats. Now, Vindicator's Judgment, level 10. Prerequisites Warden spells. You can pronounce judgment on your foes, making them magically susceptible to your attacks. You gain the Vindicator's Judgment Focus spell, which is right here, so I'll read it to you. One action has a manipulate trait, dog is a spell. Range 60 feet. Target your hunted prey. Defense, Fortitude. Duration, 1 minute. You pronounce a terrible judgment upon your quarry that causes all of your attacks and divine spells to strike with deadly efficacy. The target takes extra damage from your attacks, depending on the result of its Fortitude save. It's weird that it's Fortitude, like it should be Will. The spell ends immediately if the target is no longer your hunted prey. Critical success, they're unaffected, obviously. Success, the target has weakness 5 to the next strike you make against it, or damaging divine spell you cast that includes it as a target before the end of your next turn. That's a little bit of a benefit, but is it worth using a focus point and an action to do 5 extra damage? No, not really. Failure. The target has weakness 5 to all strikes you make against it, or damaging divine spells you cast that includes it as a target for the duration of the spell, which is a minute. That's fucking amazing! Critical failure. As failure, but the target is off guard against the first strike or divine spell attack you make against it each round for the duration of the spell. Awesome. If it's heightened to 7th, the weakness is 10. Heightened to 9th, the weakness is 15. Always going to be useful. Fucking great. That is a good feat and a good focus spell. Next and last class archetype feat. Call the Hunt. Level 12. I don't know why it ends at level 12. The initial went to 20. What? Why the disparity here? Whatever. One action. Requirements, you are observing your hunted prey. You instruct your allies on how best to defeat your prey. Until the start of your next turn, whenever your hunted prey is within reach of you and at least one of your allies, it is off guard to all melee attacks. Wow. If you are sanctified, the unarmed attacks and weapon strikes of you and all your allies gain the benefits of your sanctification against your hunted prey. This really is kill the supernatural monsters feat. It just takes an action. No limit on how many times you can do it. Whenever it's within reach of you and at least one of your allies, it's off guard to all melee attacks. This is turn your entire party into hunters. Fuck yes. I mean, of course, off guard is a great thing to give in case people need someone to be off guard like a rogue sneak attack. But even if not, it's still easier to hit them. You're encouraging everyone else to hunt your prey. Also a good feat. I think that it would be really hard to stop before level 10 feats on these, because the level 10 feat just makes your hunted prey take more damage from everything you do. But at least I would take all of these feats to level 8. Disrupt opposed magic. That reaction is so powerful. I hope it doesn't get errated. Because it's great! Alright, I really like this class archetype. But the dedication needs work. It needs an overhaul. It could even be a little minor overhaul. Like I said, just don't make the restriction that it has to be in a city or a city or town that has a church dedicated to your deity. Just use religion to coerce, gather information, make an impression, or make a request. It should be fine. Like, as long as the other person has heard of your faith, your deity. I see no reason why you can't do that. You're just specially trained in, like, using scripture to rebuke evil. Makes perfect sense to me. I really like this. Like I said, the combination of Investigator and Thaumaturge with divine spells on the Ranger chassis is a better hunter than a Thaumaturge. And I love Thaumaturges for a lot of reasons, but primarily for their ability to trigger weaknesses and to know their enemy. This is really great. But please do tell me if it, like, matches the Inquisitor from PF1 or if it diverges a lot, because I don't know. Like, even reading it, I don't understand how it runs in PF1. So, what do you think? Anyway, obviously, I like this. With a little bit of tweaking, it's great. Without that tweaking, if you're willing to just suck it up and take the second level feat and deal with how shitty it is, it's a really good class archetype overall. Truly is. Like, when I'm making a ranged character, or even anyone who does who is a martial or, like, focuses on hitting the enemy, not with spells, I look for ways to take domain initiate. That is a primary concern for me, because it gives you so many more options. And you can flavor your character a lot with it too. It's not just damaging or protecting your allies, which this class archetype can do well. Like, it essentially allows you to function sort of like a champion or paladinish character by choosing the right focus spells, the right domains. It's a great class, just needs some tweaking. Thank you for joining me today for more War of Immortals. Yeah, fuck Gorham, he's dead. I'm okay with that if we get this. If you're a patron, thank you very much for your patronizing me and your patronage. Seriously, it means a lot. I mean, yeah, it means a lot financially, but also it's just like you're constantly going, yeah, go, do it good, yeah. It means a lot. Anyway, remember the end of October we're doing this drawing. I don't think we'll have done it yet. No, it's too early. We're doing the drawing for the blood spatter dice. So on the 31st, I'm going to be live streaming the drawing of 3 different subscribers' names. Boop. To win a 45mm D20 that is blood spattered, or a set of 6 D6 that is blood spattered, or a set of 9 dice that are blood spattered. That's a big D20. Storm makes really big dice. And look at the D2. It's so bloody. And then the day after, we're doing a drawing for the other 9-piece set for patrons. So if you want to see the rest of the War of Immortals playlist, it's here. If you wanted to catch up on, I don't know, Tian Sha, playlist here. 24 videos. There's a lot of cool shit in Tian Sha. I'll see you next time. Mwah.